Let me just verify that Brooks has us. Hey Brooks, do you have us? Brooks? Hello? Brooks, this is Joelle. Can you hear me? Hey Brooks, it's Joelle. It's Joelle. Hi, can you see us? I turned on the camera and it says we're recording. I went to, yes, it says what TV? Yep. Can, yeah. It says we're live and we've been live for over 2 minutes.
Sir?
Did you get these things?
You got it? Awesome. All right, thanks,
I
Brooks.
was impressed that you're
I
getting
think
it.
it's
Bye-bye.
when I signed up for the, in order to get the.
Not yet, not until he
That
calls
they
it.
sent us for that training I did for
Mhm.
the required
It used to
training.
come in John Gooch's name.
Oh, yeah, so you could sign up to be a
Yeah,
member.
yeah. Well, I've signed up.
Oh,
but
I don't know, I
but
don't know how I got it, but anyway, you're probably gonna be interested in reading that.
Oh, yes, that would be very interesting to read.
Yeah, yeah. Have to take that up then.
You rolling?
Mm-hmm.
Will be recording.
Recording. Good evening. This is the February 4th, 2026 meeting of the Town of Newry, Maine Planning Board. This meeting will come to order. My name is Ted Baker. I'm the chairperson of the board. This is a public proceeding, and you, the public, have the right to hear everything that is being said unless the board votes to enter into executive session for Maine's Freedom of Access Act. You also have the right to review any of the material created or received by the board that relate to the board's deliberation unless state law makes that document confidential. Please notify the board if you are unable to hear or would like to access any of this material. Tonight's meeting is being audio recorded. If you like or need access to this or previous meeting audio recordings, please see the town administrator. I would also like to welcome Western Hills Access Television and its viewers. If you have not already done so, please sign in at this time, and I think you both have signed in, so we're all set there. This is a working session of the Planning Board. Maine Freedom of Access Law entitles the public to attend the meeting, take notes of the meeting, and make an audio or video recording of the meeting. The board's policy is not to allow public comment during the meeting. However, as chairperson, I may allow exceptions when it is in the interest of the board. An example of an exception would be to allow an abutter to address the board. By Newry's Planning Board bylaws, this meeting may not last for more than 2.5 hours. The meeting may be extended by a 30-minute increment if a motion to extend with a pro vote is made for each 30-minute increment. If the meeting is not extended, any remaining agenda items or discussions will be tabled at that time. Tonight's meeting includes the following business. A new business, amendment to the Barker Mountain Village subdivision, lot split of Lot 3, Patrick and Joyce Roma applicant. A proposal to adapt rules of procedure. changes to the UDRO for 2026 town meeting. Prior to attending to the above business, the board must first conduct some administrative procedures. The first, which is attendance. For section 2B of the Newry Planning Board Ordinance, amended June 8, 2021, the board is made up of 3 voting members and 2 alternate members. In order for the planning board to proceed, I must first establish that we have a quorum is present. A quorum consists of 2 voting members. The members of the board are myself as chair, Heidi Murata as vice chair, Cindy White as secretary, Meredith Harrop as an alternate. Our second alternate is currently vacant. Having a full board present, let the record show that we have a quorum. Next is voting eligibility. A voting member that was absent for the previous meeting is not eligible to vote on old business unless they have completed an affidavit stating that they have reviewed the material for the missed meeting, read the draft minutes, and have listened to the audio recording of the meeting. Both Cindy, Meredith, and myself were here at the last meeting. Heidi, you were not. However, we did not have any business that carried forward. So if you did dedicate yourself to looking at the video and listening to the audio, you are to be commended. Let the record show that all members of the board are eligible to vote on the new business tonight.
Do you have an affidavit for me?
No, there's none necessary,
Oh, okay, okay.
because we don't have any old business that's carried forward to vote on.
UDRO?
I was thinking more applications and whatnot.
Okay, all right, that's fine. You're the chair, you tell me what to do.
Ooh.
I'm gonna open myself up there.
All right, let's move on to minutes of the prior meeting. The prior meeting was on
21st.
January 21st. Does anybody have any corrections, edits, changes to the draft minutes? Hearing none, I will take a motion, I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
I'll take a seat.
I can second it.
Okay. A motion with a second to approve the minutes of the Wednesday, January 21st, 2026 regular meeting of the planning board has been made. Are there any further discussions? Hearing none, I will take a vote on that, please.
1,
2.
3. Let the record show that the minutes as drafted for January 21st, 2026 have been approved.
Do you need a check sheet? Check, Ted? Okay.
Whether or not it's the latest one or not, I'll find out when Becky comes back.
Yes, you will.
I got so many different editions on in my computer. All right, let's move on to tonight's business. The first item would be correspondence received. Madam CEO, do we have any correspondence to put in the record?
I have received no correspondence.
And any board members have any correspondence to put in the record?
No.
Let the record show that we have no correspondence to discuss. Next, let's move on to the new application to amend Barker Mountain Village subdivision. Has everybody had a chance to review the material
Yep.
that has been submitted? Okay, so, the first question is the type of review that we have, and that would be Barker Mountain Village subdivision is a major subdivision, so this will be an amendment to the subdivision. So we are operating under the jurisdiction of a major subdivision. Any questions on that? And the next question is, does the planning board have jurisdiction?
Yes.
Why?
If it's your physical subdivision. And it's It's in Newry. I never heard that word, yes.
Per UDRO section 1.c.1, this being a subdivision, we have jurisdiction. I will entertain a motion to that fact, please.
So moved.
Second.
A motion with a second has been made that according to UDRO section 1.c.1, the planning board has jurisdiction over this application. Any discussion? I'll take a vote.
1,
2.
3, let the record show that a unanimous vote for, that the planning board has jurisdiction. Has the applicant provided proof of ownership?
Yes.
So it was a deed.
And what was the deed, please? So you've got to establish a finding of fact here.
Okay. This is my first time doing it.
I will make a motion that the following finding of fact, that a deed recorded in the Oxford County Registry of Deed in book number 2223 on page 009 shows that the applicant indeed has proof of ownership.
Second.
Motion with a second has been made. Is there any discussion on the deed or the applicant's proof of ownership? I will entertain a vote then.
1,
1, 2, 3, okay.
3, yep.
Let the record show that according to the Oxford County Registry of Deeds, book 2223, page 009, the applicant has ownership. The next question that we have is does the applicant have an agent representing themselves? And the answer to that is no. Let the record show that the applicant is representing themselves, and they are here before us tonight. All right, Meredith, do you have any pecuniary or family conflicts of interest or bias with the applicant?
No.
Cindy, do you have any pecuniary or family bias or conflicts of interest with the applicant?
No.
Heidi?
No.
Ted, do I? No, I do not. Let the record show that no member of the board, plus the alternate, has a conflict of interest or pecuniary interest or bias against the applicant, or for the applicant, for that matter. Okay, is any additional fee required to be collected?
Yes, $200, it needs to be collected.
Is that,
You guys have your checkbook with you?
is that the application fee or is that the additional fee?
That's the I'm sorry, that's just the application fee.
Okay. All right,
We haven't got that.
we gotta look at, peek ahead of ourselves here. Madam CEO, what is the cost of a public notice in the papers for the town?
I don't know that until
In the past, how much
So-
is it?
depends on the newspaper. I really can't tell you.
Okay.
It really does change that fast.
Okay. The town is gonna have to publish a public notice.
Yeah.
We need to collect an additional fee from the applicant to cover that cost. How much should we collect?
A minimum of $100, but I can clarify all of this tomorrow morning when I do the ad and request the applicant pay the fee as well as additional monies, all in one check, if that's acceptable to the board.
As long as it's tomorrow, yeah, I'd say that's fine.
Okay, well, what about the size of the fee? I would prefer to be a little bit conservative, and make sure that we have enough to cover costs. So would $200 cover the public notice fee?
Yes, more than enough, yes, yeah.
I will make the motion that we collect an additional fee of $200 from the applicant
All right,
to cover administrative costs to the town in this application. But yes, ma'am.
Can we say up to 200? That way, whatever I find out the advertising is, they can write one check.
Let's collect 200.
Okay.
We can refund what's
Okay.
left over afterwards.
Okay.
Okay, that
That's
way.
just not fun for the auditor or for us on the inside of this office. That's why I'm asking that.
I'm sorry?
It's cumbersome for the auditor when they audit the town's books to see that. And it's easier for the bookkeeping side of things in the town office if we not refund money. Because because we deposit it, it starts to get.
I get that. I chuckle about, here we are collecting thousands of dollars in additional fees for applicants.
But those go in an escrow and don't collect interest. This is gonna go in a general fund and it collects interest.
Not if it's an additional fee, it's gotta go into escrow. We're talking escrow.
Okay.
We're not talking application fee. We're talking escrow.
I don't get a vote. Okay.
No, but your opinion is important to us.
I think for up to $200 going into escrow is a lot of work for the administrative side of the town of Newry. Because they have to open a separate line account. It's a big deal
Okay.
for the back office. It's time consuming.
It's also gonna be, how is the town gonna account for an expenditure of funds for a public notice that's being reimbursed?
That's what I'm saying, if we do up to 200, and I get Sun Journal newspaper tomorrow to tell me how much the fee is gonna be for the public notice, I can give them right to the penny what we need from them.
And where is that gonna go?
It goes into our general ledger, so we can pay Sun Journal.
Because that's an expense in your
Right.
fund, everybody.
I will,
If this was a $10,000 escrow, I totally get that, but we're talking maybe $70.
I totally get that too.
Okay.
I'm just trying to
I know,
make sure that
fair's fair, I get that, yeah, per our ordinance.
for just accountability and whatnot. So,
Yeah.
Okay. I will rescind my previously voiced motion and restate the motion in that I make the motion that we collect up to $200 in the form of an additional fee to cover expenses for the town in administrating this application.
Second that.
A motion with a second to collect up to $200 in additional fees to cover the cost of administrating this application has been made. Any further discussion?
I have a question, are there additional fees, and is this typical for a major subdivision as far as the amount?
For public hearing,
Yeah,
or the,
what we're voting on to cover the cost of the application.
so for this application, because it's an amendment, whether minor or major, I need to advertise a public hearing. And so those costs need to get covered. If this was a major subdivision and we needed engineers to also review the plans of stormwater and all of that, then that's where we get larger dollar amounts, and it goes into a separate escrow account.
So you don't anticipate any additional fees other than the newspaper fee?
I do not, and I mean, I may,
Do you?
I don't, I'm just asking because I don't know.
I do not anticipate any more additional fees. The recording fee at the registry, when this is approved, assuming we approve all of this, will come out of their pocket directly. They'll be responsible for recording.
Thank you.
So, just for background, normally, if this was a subdivision application, we would probably be collecting the flat $10,000 additional fee, which then the town applies towards legal review, engineering review,
Yeah.
planning review, whatever. But it involves a little more accounting, and what Joelle is trying to avoid is
Opening an
an
escrow account.
additional accounting
Yeah.
for a relatively small amount of money, which I get. So,
Thank you.
okay. We have a motion on the floor. Is there any more discussions?
Second.
You already did that.
Oh, did you already do that?
Yeah, you already
Sorry,
did.
I lost track. Lost track.
Okay, I'll take a vote, please.
1, 2,
3, let the record show that the motion to collect up to $200 in additional fees to account for or cover the cost of town administrative fees on this application has been approved. Mr. Rome, at this time, please present a summary of your project.
Yes, thank you. My name is Pat Roma. I'm here with my wife Joyce. We're residents of 70 Valley Drive here in town, in the Barker Mountain Village subdivision. And I am here to request a change to the subdivision plan to recognize the fact that the lot that I purchased with a single deed is actually split by the town road, creating 2 lots, which I have been taxed for since at least 2011. I don't have records that go before that. But ever since 2011, the town has identified this as Lot 3 and Lot 3A in the commitment book. And so I am asking that the planning board approve a revision to the subdivision plan to reflect the fact that these are 2 lots, so that that can be recorded in the registry of deeds.
Okay. Anything else?
Well, I provided you with a memo summarizing that. Within that memo, I'm asking for 2 waivers. The first is the submission requirements for section 13A through AH, which I believe were satisfied when the subdivision was initially approved, and I don't think it's necessary to prove the subdivision applies at this time. And then secondly, I'm seeking expedited approval due to the nature of the request. The town has recognized this as 2 lots. I feel that this should be reflected in the Oxford County Registry of Deeds. I've given you the subdivision plan that was approved in 1987. I've given you a deed for my lot, which was purchased in 1995. I've shown you protective covenants of this subdivision, which permit the subdivision of each lot once. The road naturally subdivides this. And that is about it, really.
Okay, thank you. Joel, we collected the application fee?
I'm gonna do that first thing tomorrow morning, as soon as I get the ad.
But that has nothing to do with the application fee.
I know that, huh? I did not collect the fee.
And what's the amount of the fee?
$200.
Take your credit card.
I can't. I can take your credit card, but it won't do it.
Goodbye, Joel.
I can't run it, I don't know how to do any of that front office stuff, so I'll call you in the morning.
Do you want me to go home and get a check? Now?
No.
No, no.
Because I'll be by,
Let me place the ad for Sun Journal, then we'll be able to write one check.
And the deer on the road would rather you just take your time.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Joel, is the next sequential number 290?
Yes, 26290 is the application number.
Okay, so let the record show that this is application 26-290 and that an application fee of $200 has not been collected as of yet. Okay. Members of the board. Section 10B2 of the UDRO stipulates that applications for approval or review and approval need to be submitted 2 weeks prior to the scheduled meeting. This application does not meet that criteria. Comments, discussions?
Does that mean that we need to more time to have reviewed it, what's the purpose of that window?
The,
Do you want me to answer or you answer?
no, the 2-week is to provide a sufficient time without haste for members of the board to review applications.
I think maybe in the future, I would rather have a paper copy in the advance rather than electronic, because when we come, we get the paper version, but.
Yeah, we didn't have paper until tonight.
Oh,
So the question of the board is,
Mm.
do we proceed or do we not?
I guess the question is, do we, the bill we proceed, it seems to be somewhat straightforward in that the town of Newry has been taxing them as an individual lot since that time. The subdivision allows lots to be subdivided, so it's just, but again,
The-
it's my first time going through, so I don't wanna
What,
take what seems
Let-
very straightforward and simple.
yes, I hear what you're saying. What significance on how the lot's being taxed has to do with subdivision of the lot?
And that with the town is, I guess in my mind, the town has already subdivided the lot in that they're taxing it as 2 parcels. You wouldn't, if it wasn't seen as being 2 lots, you wouldn't tax it separately.
But
But then again, I don't, but that's
But
not
the-
me as,
But the subdivision has never been amended to split lot 3.
then how did the town determine to start taxing it as a separate lot?
All right, so I think that's a little bit ahead of where we are,
Okay.
because right now we're trying to vote on whether or not we should accept the applicant because we just got the paperwork and we're
Yeah.
supposed to have a 2-week window. So
Yes.
I really, what's going on right now is that we shouldn't actually maybe be hearing this until our next meeting. So we can accept the paperwork now and then have further time to review it and then go through it at our next meeting, which would probably be more appropriate. That's what we've done with previous, or no, I don't know. That's how the bylaws are written so that we follow procedure
In this
with
case,
every
the-
applicant.
Yeah, in this
How's
case, the
that?
ordinance, but okay.
Right.
So, if we proceed, we need to make an exception. That's the question of the board.
And I respectfully request that you do make that exception, given the very,
I think your letter already states that.
So I think that there's a couple of problems with future precedent, though. If you do this time, then every applicant could reference this meeting saying, well, that applicant did it the day before, and then you,
We do not set precedent as a planning board, flat and pure and simple. And every attorney will tell you that. We do
Yeah.
not set precedents. Because we've gone through this multiple times, and I've done this for 15 years, planning boards, we could all vote that the sky is pink tonight. That doesn't mean the next applicant gets to tell us that.
yeah.
Every application stands on their own. I just want to put that out there. Our attorney says that doesn't happen.
Right. And so if this is a public hearing and the public sees what we do as a board, then it could be that we face the same predicament in the future with people coming before us and then wanting to have this happen. So if you stand on the rules of how the UDRO is written, then we should ideally wait, because then other future boards, it would be a fair process for everyone. It would be the same process.
Meredith?
Have we waived this rule in the past?
Not to my knowledge.
Not in the last 4 years.
Not that we established precedent, but.
No, but I've been
I
here
was
for,
trying- I was
I've been
trying
here
to
4
think
years,
too.
huh?
Yeah, I
So.
was trying to think
Yeah.
of that.
I'm sorry?
I was just
No, okay.
curious about that. I mean, I would ideally like more time to review,
Okay.
but I'm voting on
Right,
it, so.
that's correct. Again, you're- Cindy?
I stated mine, but I'm not planting a flag on it, as they say, and that I'm new to the planning board and respectfully that I've had more time at the planning board and seen, this is my first application for me.
So where does that put you in
Well, then, I feel like, it seems straightforward and simple, but I also understand what Heidi's saying in that there's other applications that we have down the line. And not that precedent would drive it, but it does not sound like that is the norm, that we would waive that early, regardless of whether it's a straightforward application or not.
the? Do I hear a motion?
New to the planning board, unfortunately, I think we should follow the rules. Again, I think that following paper copies and making sure that all the i's are dotted and t's are crossed. I know that they work with you first, but I would motion to table until the next meeting so that we have time to review everything. It seems like that we should follow our rules.
Okay. So I hear a motion to table the application till the next meeting.
Right.
I will second that motion. Is there any further discussion? I will take a vote. One for,
Oh, sorry.
in
I thought it was
favor or
for
in favor to table?
Okay, 1, 2.
And 3. Let the record show that don't go anywhere yet, folks, we got more. Let the record show that the application has been tabled to allow sufficient time to elapse to be in compliance with section 10B2 of the application. Now, not all is lost. Because this is a major subdivision, we are required to have a public hearing. And you are also required to notify abutters for registered, or for certified, registered, certified mail. And an abutter list can be obtained from off the GIS website, or you can contact the town for assistance on that. That said, this is a lot split. There's not a lot of technical difficulties behind that. So it is very possible that we can find this application complete at the start of our next meeting. Everybody in agreement with that? We can then recess the meeting, go into public hearing, close the public hearing, and proceed with deliberations at that time. But abutters need to be notified before then.
Right.
What advance notice would the abutters need?
And per the ordinance, it needs to be a letter generated advising them of what's happening. And it needs to be mailed to the address of record.
Right, I understand that, but
Yeah.
what sort of advance notice? Is it 2 weeks, 1 week?
Nope, there's no timeline, and I can walk you through the sections tomorrow morning. And all we need are the certified mail receipts, we're not getting back the return, we just need the receipts that they were sent.
Mhm.
Okay. The time constraint is the notice of public hearing, which we can make that happen if we, the town, publish
Yeah.
the notice tomorrow.
Yep.
We will meet the time constraints for public notice. That's the time constraint.
Yeah.
It sounds like that, if I understand, is that while we were not able to make this happen today, on a timeline for the completion, it's about the same, because we're.
It would've happened-
We have to do a public hearing anyway.
Right, we would have to do the public
You're-
hearing
you're-
anyway, we'd have to have the abutter notification anyway, those are, to add credence to this, we reached out to the town council, and they strongly advised that we have the abutter notification and we have the public hearing.
Yeah.
And,
what that does, I'm gonna expound on that a little bit. Per our attorney, this protects your buyers. If, let's say, an abutter wants to come and unwind what the planning board did, if we didn't follow procedure, if we didn't have the public hearing, this protects your buyers too. So that, I hope they will understand that. Yeah. Yeah.
so,
At the next meeting, I will have a document that will, a surveyor's plan suitable for signature. Can I anticipate the board would sign at that meeting, assuming approval?
with this board, I don't anticipate anything. As I have said, this is a straightforward lot split. I don't see complications as of now. However, board members have said that they haven't had time to review it. So therefore, I can't say one way or the other. My plan as chair is to bring this is to table this application. We have tabled the application. Put it on the agenda next week.
The
Next
18th.
meeting.
The
No, the
18th.
next meeting.
Yeah.
Find the application complete, barring any unknown issues that come up. Once the application's complete, we can then proceed to have a public hearing, which cannot occur before the application's found complete. Once we have the public hearing, then we can proceed with deliberations and review the application for compliance with the ordinance and either approve with conditions, or deny the application at that time.
All right?
So bring your plan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is the public hearing happening the night of the 18th?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna advertise that. Yeah.
And you just wanna
So
know that we send
if we come by
letters to the
tomorrow, you
abutters?
can help us with the construction of that letter to the abutters and determining who the abutters are.
I can.
Be notified.
Yep, I'm gonna have the public notice drafted about 7:30 tomorrow morning. I can email you a copy of that. That's your letter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi dear neighbor, here's a public notice. Yeah.
And I'll be in around 8:30 to give you the check.
I wanna make sure that I get an answer on how much everything is from the Sun Journal. I'll call you guys when I get that, so you'll know what to bring in.
I'll be out of town for the day, so I'll drop people over.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Okay. Any other comments, questions?
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, moving on.
Ted, was that checklist that you were going off of, is that in this packet or is that not in this packet?
No, that's,
You have to, okay, that's, oh, that's great, because it's just sort of, it'd be good for me to kind of see what that
Do
is.
you all
Send
want-
Yeah, I'd like
send
to.
send an email to Becky and ask her to send you the latest copy.
I think I have it.
Just got one of
Five
those.
one twenty.
Electronically, so that you have it for future.
Oh, yeah, yeah, thank you.
Whoops, sorry, you have one.
No, this is
Just kind
mine.
of helpful as you're going through.
So yours is way out of date.
There's also, it won't be, well, there's also one for the performance standards and the criteria of approval. That's
Yeah.
helpful.
Okay.
And the checklist more or less follows the guidelines for establishing, or actually the guidelines set up by the Maine Municipal Association handbook for planning boards.
Is that again, sorry?
Okay. The Maine Municipal Association, chapter 2 of the handbook, kind of walks through the review process. It's not 100% clear, but it does walk through the process. You have to sit there and identify it, but it's there. So, and this, we're just in general talking about reviews and applications, okay? So, the way the board has been operating is when an application comes, the first question is, what type of application is it? Is it a site plan, is it a subdivision? If it's a subdivision, is it a minor, is it a major? If it's an amendment, is it an amendment to a site plan, is it an amendment to a subdivision? Next, we need to go and establish that we, the board, have jurisdiction. And normally that's in section 1 of the UDRO. And for subdivisions, it's pretty crystal clear. It's the first subparagraph there. Okay. For site plans, there's some other stuff that, other steps or criteria that need to be met, type of thing. We also need, the board also needs to have established a finding of fact. Now, let me back up again. Everything that we do has to establish a finding of fact, which we then draw a conclusion of law. So the finding of fact is that section 1A1 of the UDRO, or whatever that section was, gives us jurisdiction.
Yeah.
The conclusion of law is we have jurisdiction.
Yeah.
Then we have to have proof that the applicant has some form of ownership or otherwise legal interest in the property. So we have to establish a finding of fact. Normally, that's going to be a deed, although it could be something, it could be, it could be a lease or something like that. And then, once that finding of fact is established, then we have to make a conclusion of law that the applicant has standing to do that. Same thing for, if the applicant is not personally presenting and has a agent representing them, then we have to establish that agency has been established. In other words, that the applicant has formally designated an individual or firm to be their agent. Again, finding of fact, conclusion of law. And then the next step is bias and pecuniary conflicts of interest. This doesn't necessarily need a finding of fact and conclusion of law. However, if there is a potential pecuniary interest, conflict of interest or bias, then the board needs to make a vote, a motion and a vote as to whether or not, unless that individual voluntarily says, I have a conflict of interest and therefore I am recusing myself, type of situation. And it works its way down there.
Yeah.
Now, it's important to remember that until we find the application to be complete, we cannot deliberate or make judgment on the application being in compliance with or out of compliance with the ordinance.
Yeah.
Okay, so we need to maintain a neutral frame of mind until we find the application complete, at which time then we proceed into deliberation. And at that point, we now start to review the application for compliance with the ordinance. So it's basically,
Does that mean you need to get through all of these?
well, if you notice halfway down the
Right.
middle is submission is complete.
Yeah, yep.
So up until that point, until we find an application is complete, we are to refrain from any actions, questions, discussions that could be interpreted as a deliberation. Now, that sometimes gets a little tricky because we have to go through the submission of the application and make sure that that there's enough evidence submitted that we can make findings of fact that show that the application is either in compliance or not in compliance with the ordinance or the criteria of approval. But at the same time, we can't be making a judgment call on that. Okay. Now, once we get to application complete, now certain things can happen. Well, first of all, in order to get to application complete, we have 30 days from the time of acceptance of the application to find it complete. If we find it incomplete, then it's an open deadline after that. It's up to the applicant to submit whatever they need to do in order to get to completeness. But there's no, once that 30-day, once we find that initial, you're complete or you're not complete, then if we find them not complete, then there's no deadline after that.
On them at that point.
It's up to them at that point.
Yeah.
Once we find, so within the 30 days of accepting the application, we have to find it complete. Once we find it complete, we have 60 days, unless a public hearing is held, we have 60 days to determine if the application is in compliance or is approved. We have, let me rephrase that, we have until 60 days to approve the application, approve it with conditions, or deny it. Unless mutually agreed to by the applicant and the board to extend that. If there's a public hearing, the public hearing has to happen within 30 days of the application being found complete. And once you have the public hearing, you have 30 days to determine if the application is approved, approved with conditions, or denied. Once, and basically, the other milestone that happens with application complete is at that point, the applicant has submitted everything. They cannot submit additional material after that.
Unless the planning board.
Unless the planning board specifically requests something. But, and that's the hardest cookie to swallow for the applicant, because they wanna sit there and keep submitting stuff to us. The other thing that is also important is that once we start deliberation, that's amongst us. And even though the applicant and any citizen is allowed to sit there and watch us deliberate,
Yeah.
they are not entitled to participate in that deliberation.
Because they had their chance
Unless
to
you
explain.
went by bidding only.
And unless the board, through the chair, decides to allow that. And again, sometimes applicants want to sit there and sit next to us and help us with our deliberation. And that's not okay. So
Yeah.
but that's, in a nutshell, that's the
Yeah, no, that's great, thank you.
that's the application process.
Yeah.
Joel, anything you want to add to that?
Nope.
Right. The next order of business for tonight is the rules of procedure, which has been lingering out there. Unless a member of the board has information or additional things to add to that, I would like to table that for one more meeting. And definitely bring it up for discussion at the next meeting. And I say that because by then,
Well, we have no time.
if we have time.
Okay.
If we have, it's been tabled this long.
Wasn't there, sorry, I do have one question, wasn't there something that was going to be added to that someone was going to write?
I think Heidi was gonna come up with some
Okay,
additional
sorry.
wording or different
Yeah.
wording.
Okay.
I think probably the first thing we're gonna do is get reacquainted with it.
Understood, okay.
That would be good.
It's fine, I was trying to remember.
That's
what
pretty
we
good.
got.
And we'll get reacquainted with that and proceed, and because by next meeting, the UDRO will be UDRO 2026 will be part of the lawyers, I hope. And so we don't have to discuss it at the next meeting until it comes, unless Portland Thompson does a miracle and brings it back to us within 2 weeks. Not likely.
You said this
All right,
was 290,
so-
right?
So hearing
sorry,
that
what?
nobody has any further discussion on the rules of procedures, I will table that until the next meeting. And that takes us to the final business item for tonight.
Heidi, I didn't hear you, say that
I
again.
just wanted to know what the application was. Was it 290?
290.
290.
26, 290.
26,290.
Thank you.
Yep.
And actually, the checkoff sheet is a little late. That should be moved up because Joelle now assigns the application number.
I just didn't have the applications to write.
Whereas in prior years, it waited until the chairperson assigned a number. But we're doing that now as soon as the application is submitted
Perfect.
to
Thank you.
do that. It just happens that the checkoff sheet has it right now. All right. Any other questions before we move on to our next order of business? Okay. UDRO 2026. You should have in front of you revision 6A, summary of. And basically, it reflects our in-depth conversation with Peter Roberts of Sunday River at our last meeting. Does anybody have any comments, questions on that? There was no new content added, it was simply, we spent a lot of time, and a big concern to Sunday River was the new wording that requires off-site private roads to be brought up to standards for a new subdivision. And the feedback was that the shall was overly harsh. And so, as we discussed in that last meeting, I removed that second sentence. Doesn't mean that we removed the requirement necessarily, but it allows a little more wiggle room to allow the applicant to supply evidence to show that the existing road will suffice for the intended future use without significant alterations.
Because it still has a shell in there, but has the capacity to be suitably improved to accommodate that traffic, so that they shall have, and so they have to prove that they does.
Yes,
Yeah.
but the second wording said
Oh, yeah.
it will meet those standards,
Yeah.
which could be a significant financial burden
Yeah.
if it required major alteration to an existing road. So, it gives a little bit of wiggle room to the applicant to be able to build a case to convince the board that it meets the intended for future use of the board. We spent a lot of time on that one,
Yeah.
which I don't think was probably well spent. So where we are now is the select board last night, and Joelle, correct me if I was wrong, approved expending funds to have the town council review the UDRO 2026 through revision 6A.
Yep.
Is everybody comfortable with that? Okay, so my next job is to take UDRO 2026 through revision 6A, convert it to a Word document, since everybody but Ted Baker works on Word. And
Yeah, we know.
and so that it can be forwarded to the town attorney, And I will also put in one a cover letter from the chair saying, please pay particular attention to certain sections, but it's up to them to review. Also, the town also wants the attorney not only to look at UDRO 2026, but also our proposed planning board ordinance amendment, which we already have reviewed. And also other town ordinances to make sure that they are all on the same level when it comes to definitions, et cetera, et cetera. And just some background notes, the town attorney, working with Joel, has been moving towards having the definitions in the UDRO be the central set of definitions.
It's a mothership.
Nice.
Yeah.
So that you don't have either redundant definitions or contradictory definitions. And the definitions that are out in the other ordinances will be looked at to see if they should be put into the UDRO in order, and then removed from that other ordinance. So that's all the order stuff.
For a little light reading, if you'd like to compare the land use building code ordinance.
You've been keeping the copier warm.
I have. These are my
Thank
proposed
you.
changes. You'll see, I think I have maybe 4 definitions in here, because everything else refers back to the UDRO.
That's actually great.
It is.
It consolidates everything.
Because why do I want to, or Ted, or whoever is gonna be editing this ordinance, constantly go, well, what about this, and what
No,
about
that's-
shoreland and land use, and, oh, just put it all in one.
Yeah, no, it's.
So much better.
Mhm.
So tomorrow I will get the UDRO 2026 in the proper word processor format to Joel, so it can be forwarded to
Perkins Thompson.
Burke and Thompson, so they can have fun in the sun. Or fun in the cold, reviewing it. And hopefully, if they stick to our timeline, which, Joel, please give them a copy of the timeline.
I'll make sure our administrator knows.
They get it back to us in March, early March, so that we can then digest their comments and get a final draft of UDRO 2026 to the select board by early April for their certification, so they can then go to be placed on the warrant and go to the second public hearing, which the select board hosts, just to introduce all the warrant items that need public hearing to the town. At that point, it's a done deal.
You guys are done, huh?
It either goes or it doesn't go.
Right.
The only other thing I want to talk about is, I'm doing this in a generic sense, not to any application, is the concept of a road splitting a lot in two. It is possible that you have a subdivision that was created where and we actually do have subdivisions in town where this applies, where a private road goes through one or more lots. And there is a right-of-way for owners of interior lots to cross that road. There's also, and those are in existence, they can be, there's nothing illegal about that. However, the later editions of state law say that, wait a minute, if you're creating a subdivision and it's gonna have a private road, that private road or public road, either one, you cannot have a lot that crosses.
It's 2 separate parcels,
It
or
has to be,
more.
it has to be 2 separate parcels.
Yeah.
Okay. However, if the subdivision was created prior to that, and you have a parcel that goes across, that's perfectly legal.
And so what is the, because this one was sent to us, the municipals and
Yeah,
counties piece.
that's-
It
that's-
says, unless the road was established by the owner of land on both sides of the road after September 22nd, 1971. So does that mean,
Well,
If
read it carefully.
yeah,
Yeah,
Read it carefully.
Heidi, I gave you wrong advice.
well, it says tract means all contiguous land the same ownership, except that lands located on opposite sides of a public or private road are considered each a separate tract or parcel of land. So they're,
There's the-
unless,
yeah.
that says unless.
Unless, and
Unless.
underline
Yep,
that,
the
unless.
road was established by the owner of land on both sides of the road after September 22nd, 1971.
So,
Yeah.
those, so the unless
Yeah,
and the after
Yep.
carry a hell of a lot of weight.
Yeah.
so, but let me just try to
Yeah.
understand this one. So I own a parcel of land, I own it,
Mm-hmm.
and I put a road through it, and it's now 2026. It doesn't have to be separate,
That's correct,
that's correct.
Right.
Okay.
that's correct. Now,
So they
if,
did this,
but if you're gonna subdivide a parcel of
yeah,
land,
and it's not the
a
same.
new subdivision,
More than 2 lots.
more than 2
Two
lots,
lots.
3 or more lots, then that can't happen.
And where does that state?
That's where the unless and after come in.
But we're talking now, we're after
Yeah, I
September
know.
22nd, 1971.
So, what's the name of that subdivision that, is just before, Lone Pine? Down there by the Bear River crossing.
Riverwood?
What's that?
Riverwood?
Riverwood,
Mm-hmm.
Riverwood. If you look at Riverwood, the road goes right through lots.
Yeah.
And the lots exist on either side, and it's just one lot. That's perfectly legal.
Yeah.
Now, if that was gonna be a brand-new subdivision, the way I'm interpreting, now granted, I'm not a lawyer, but the way this seems to work, and what I've been able to gather is, if you're gonna do a brand-new subdivision, then you can't do that,
Because it's not gonna be
because
by
it-
the owner of both
Right.
sides of the road,
Right.
because it's gonna be subdivided, so
Right.
then it's not gonna be both sides of the road at that point.
So, for whatever that's just trivia, you know.
Yeah. Heidi, sorry, I was interpreting all of that wrong, huh? When I was
Great, you-
talking with the attorney this afternoon, I was like, oh. I said,
bring
boy,
it up
now I
with-
can argue both sides of this, because I see it both ways.
No, it's very ambiguous language.
Typical
Yeah.
law.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Case law from it.
And why it's really important to clean up language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Anyhow.
Yeah. Can we
Um,
sell that to Augusta?
okay, where's the agenda,
Comprehensive plan is next.
Okay, do we have anything else to talk about on the UDRO 2026?
I have one question.
Yeah.
So you mentioned you were working on the other ordinances, on the definitions, and you already did the land use and building code.
Mhm.
So are the other ones going to be touched this year, or like shoreline zoning?
Shoreline zoning will stand on its own for now.
Okay.
Yeah, because
So
that
the
comes right out of a
'cause
state
there's
book.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I was just curious.
Yeah, that's mandated by the state.
Okay, and the sign one will be the same?
No, the sign one's probably not gonna get touched this year.
Okay.
I'm
I was
really,
just
the land
curious.
use is the one
Eventually,
I,
you're just trying to get the definition.
so appeals,
Yeah.
land use, UDRO, driveway entrance, which we actually, I think, adopted last year. I wanna make sure that that's in compliance with the new UDRO coming through. So yes, the attorney's gonna earn his money. But not only do I want the UDRO reviewed, I wanna make sure those other ordinances I just named get reviewed for compliance with
Oh,
UDRO.
that makes sense, yeah.
Okay, anything else on,
No, I'm comfortable.
Getting ready to jump.
Heidi, I don't think you've met, the comprehensive plan committee has met since our last meeting.
I was trying to think if we had, I
I
don't
don't think so. I think
It's
the next
usually
meeting is next
monthly.
week.
It's next week.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I think that the last time, the only thing that the takeaway was that we're continuing to make progress and we want to engage with Sunday River representatives
Right.
more,
Oh,
just
yeah.
in order to get a more complete plan of the community.
And actually,
Or
wasn't there?
more complete,
Yeah.
profile of the community.
And
That's what-
didn't Erica submit two sections, a draft, right?
Yes,
Two
and I
sections.
did find out that I think Dana's gonna come to the next meeting. 'Cause
we heard that today too, yeah, at this, yesterday at the select board meeting.
That camera better be working for that one.
I will make sure it's on. I think it was just Lerner and I both started playing with it, it's too many fingers in the pie.
Okay, so, anything is that all for, you really don't have much else with the comprehensive plan
No,
at
not
this
right now,
point? Okay. The next meeting, you might have something to share with
for
us.
sure.
Okay.
If we have time.
Again, thank you for your time on that.
Yeah.
Madam CEO,
I don't know, did I let you all in on the Forget Development subdivision, Monkey Brook subdivision?
not since the
we had
last,
a
not since 2 weeks ago.
Right, well, but we did talk about it 2 weeks ago, right?
Was that the one
Yeah,
that you were
yeah.
trying to,
Get into compliance.
Yep.
Yeah, they did,
okay,
off the table, they're done. For now, for winter frozen season, they've got all of any water that may come down the mountain, unless we get a December 23 storm, is gonna go into a temporary little pond that they dug, so it doesn't flow off-site, it stays on their site. So, yeah,
okay.
it's a solution for now.
It's gonna
So
be-
temporary erosion control.
Yes, there you go.
It's gonna be a headache in the summertime
Yeah,
for you. Anything else to report?
not really, no, ordinances are shaping up and moving along.
Okay. All right, reports are done. Any open discussion from the board members?
I think there's two, in the legislative bulletin, there's two, things that pertain, it seems like, to the planning board. One is they have, it's titled Surprising Turn of Events for LD 1926, so there is somebody that has, they're moving an ought not to pass on the bill, so that's gonna be interesting to see if that, what that goes, and how, I think that's one of the reasons you all decided, we all decided to wait. To let the
Yes,
dust-
yes,
To let the
yes,
dust settle.
yes,
So
because
that's-
that
it's definitely
has,
stirring.
that has could have some impact on sprinkling
Mm-hmm.
and,
I hope,
and, density
Density's
issues,
the
density
one,
issues,
yeah.
which
Yeah.
really get complicated.
Yeah,
Which brings up an interesting point.
We need to edit.
We may, not for this year, because
We're not.
UDR 2026 is
Yeah.
closed for new, but we may need to look at defining, we have a definition for an ADU.
Mm-hmm.
We may need a definition for principal residence.
Oh, that's easy, go right in shoreline zoning, steal it from there.
Okay. And the reason I say that is, for instance, the driveway, definition of a driveway, do not serve more than 2 dwelling units.
Right.
Well, if you are allowed to put up to 4 dwelling units on your property, the principal plus 3 ADUs,
Mm-hmm.
that driveway now is no longer a driveway.
Yeah, we'll have to look at the ADU language, because I think that's also one of, those laws may contradict each other.
Right, so one way around that is to define a principal residence,
Mm-hmm.
or primary residence, whichever you wanna use,
What does
And-
shoreline zoning say?
and change the language of a driveway to serve no more than 2 primary.
Okay. Does it say primary or principal in shoreline
Has
zone?
principal structure, principal use.
Okay.
So, look, the
We'll play with
concept
that.
is there, that's down
Okay.
the line, but that's an interesting,
yeah.
one of the impacts that this LD can have on us is
Mhm.
that one, besides the sprinkling. Do you have
Yes.
ability to scan
I have one in the office too, I can scan an email to everyone.
Would you scan it in
And then the second one in there was newspaper notices, they've got up looking to potentially
Yes.
get rid of that.
Thank goodness, okay.
I never saw that, and
So-
it's no surprise who's fighting it, just in that, but that was interesting to see that is,
So Joel, if you have time in your busy day to
I do.
scan those in
Yep.
and get them out to the board, I would
Okay.
appreciate it.
Okay.
Meredith, anything you'd like to discuss?
No, thank you.
Heidi said no already, Cindy already did hers, I can talk all night, but I won't.
I'm pretty excited to get home early, I was like, it's gonna be another 8:30 night.
Joel, you have anything that
No,
you wanna talk up? Okay, so our next meeting, February 18th, 2026, we will have old business in that we will have application 26-290 that we will have to finish review for completeness. Assuming on how that goes, we will then move into a public hearing. After the public hearing, we'll go into deliberation. And hopefully, if there are any issues or whatnot, please think about findings of fact and conclusions that you would like to put forth to that. We will still need to somehow address the 21 criteria of approval.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we've only gone through 4. Right, that's the review track, oh, you're talking about.
The criteria of
Yeah,
approval, section
yeah,
5.
Yeah.
Now, I can't talk about the application because the applicant is not here, but you need to look at whether or not anything has changed from the original subdivision. And I'll leave it at that.
Do we have a copy of the original subdivision?
Yes, I emailed that, but if not, I can get that to you
Well, you
tomorrow.
emailed the
The plan, right?
plan, but we don't, is there anything in the file? Do we have?
I will take a look at the file.
My guess is that this subdivision predates, what was the date of the? What's the date of that
87,
one?
1987.
1987, so this subdivision predates the UDRO.
But not subdivision law, so they might
But
have
not
gone through
subdivision law,
subdivision,
so
right.
there probably will be some type of a 1 or 2 page,
Back then, they did findings of facts in the email body.
so.
Dot
there-
matrix.
There might be something in there, but, the other thing is that this subdivision's been around for more than 20 years, so.
Yeah.
A lot of the requirements,
40 years, is it 86?
well, I mean, the cutoff is 20.
Oh, I see, okay.
The cutoff is 20, so. All right, so we have that. We have hopefully we can talk about refresh our memories on the procedural, rules of procedure, and decide how we want to proceed on that, excuse the double procedure. Oh, that one. And anything else that comes up?
Quick look, it's not looking good.
No, it's
But I'll look
probably,
again in the morning.
yeah, it's probably, if anywhere, it's probably downstairs.
Yeah, no, those are the old files, huh? But I'll look again.
Okay, don't
Okay.
spend a lot of time on it,
No.
so. Any questions on our next meeting then? Okay,
All right, motion to adjourn.
we have a motion with a second to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor?
One, two.
Three. Let the record show that the board has adjourned itself,
At 7:12.
7:12. Thank you all for coming and for the time.